But October's been spectacular. Almost every major index is up at some point. Do we need to maybe just, get out of the play, get on the bench, and take a breather for a few minutes?
Not at all. Not at all. This market's going higher. The HCM buy line's positive. Any pullback, you should be buying into it. We're just hitting a technical top here. You look at the S&P, it's very obvious that it's just a technical top. We'll probably get a little bit of a pullback, maybe a point or two. I think the market will reset for a few weeks. And I think towards the end of the year, we're going to see new highs on all three exchanges. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I would be very bullish right here. And another
What's
point,
the driver?
Well, there's just too much cash on the sidelines. And another thing, too, when you saw that pullback in September, that was sort of a resetting of the market also. October always gives me a little bit of heartburn, Brian, because I still remember the October '87 crash. My wife and I were about to get married in November. We didn't really have any money. I'd taken a $3,000 account and run it up to $16,000 back when I was 22, 23, thought I was a stock market genius. And the '87 crash happened. And I remember I went from 16,000 back to my original $3,000. So, I'm glad to get October behind us. I think it's a great thing that we had that little pullback in September, the beginning of October, but I'm very bullish going into the last two months of the year.
Well, you probably learned some valuable lessons that have helped you along the way, Vance. You're obviously doing all right. So, tough lesson to learn at 22, but one that probably helped you later on. Better than that than a couple 100,000 or million. Let's talk about that. You said all the money on the sidelines. I mean, that's really it. I know we like to talk about earnings and all this fundamental stuff, but the reality is if everybody is just putting more money, upping their 401k allotment, whatever it may be, into the market every month, there's more buying power, there's more juice, there's more cash, it's going to go up. I mean, that's pretty much what's happening, right?
Yeah, and I mean, bond yields, everybody keeps talking about bond yields ticking up. Well, let's face it, the return on bonds are just terrible. I mean, the 10 years that we got 160 or something,
Negative.
You really want to make a point and a half? I mean, so, bonds are almost like cash. So as the market becomes a little bit, more robust and the market starts to break out again, you'll see some of that money come out of bonds back into the equities market. But we look at cash buildup, Brian. I look at it all the time. Cash buildup is the fuel behind any market moving higher. And there's a tremendous amount of cash sitting on the sidelines, and it's going to start to be deployed. And so I just think there's a lot of built-in base to this market, and I think you're going to see a really good rally into the last 2 months.
Quickly, leave us with some ideas. Excellus, Brooks Automation, semiconductor names we don't talk about very much, if ever, really.
Well, I thought that was an interesting thing because, Brian, I've been bullish on SOXX, which is the semiconductor index. We own quite a bit of it. But like when you look at there's a lot of components that go in to make a chip, and people don't realize that. When you look at wafer boards, vacuums, all the little different pieces that go in to make that chip, there's manufacturing companies that build that kind of equipment like Brooks Automation, and the revenue and the earnings from Brooks are just looking really good. But if you look at the technicals on like Brooks and Excellus and et cetera, the way they're basing, they look like they're just getting ready to break out of a 52-week high. And I love breakouts. I don't like bottom fishing, man. I like getting a stock that's moving and making money and can make the cash register run. And these are two plays that I think are getting ready to break out and really, really make some money.